Here are 10 reasons why I am still incredibly excited to teach prenatal teacher trainings, even after 17 years of teaching them. Number one, I see birth as my guru. In other words, looking deeply into this process, physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, I get insights into life, into yoga, into the process of co-creation. Number two, we are all pregnant with something, whether that's a baby, a project, a vision for who you're becoming. The practices and principles that we learn and teach for prenatal yoga apply. They help us birth whatever's wanting to come into the world through us in the most empowering and meaningful way. And that includes physically, all of the different levels. Number three, so instead of do's and don'ts, although that's part of it, the thing that I love really is the principle, right? So instead of these rules, which are important, but then again, the principles can often allow us to break the rules if we understand how to safely stabilize the parts of our body that, tend to move in wacky directions. So for instance, for pregnancy, generally the low back gets flattened and the belly goes forward and our joints are incredibly weak. And we can feel knee pain and pelvic pain, and all of these things require support and stabilization. And yet these are also things that we feel all the time. We don't have to be pregnant to feel back pain and wrist pain. So just on a purely therapeutic level, what we learn to stabilize and align the pregnant body is going to apply to all of us. All right, number four, the off the mat parts of the prenatal training, at least the one that I do, always deepen my self-care, awareness, and habits. So for me, this is a great time, pregnancy, to start to take a deeper look at, are we making time for ourselves? And if we are, do we know how to use this time most effectively? So we learn daily rhythms and food as medicine, self-care routines from Ayurveda, that pregnant women often are more motivated than ever to start to adopt. And then it helps them so much postpartum to heal and just to have a life that where we feel like we are modeling what we value. Okay, number five, the concept of Ma. The syllable Ma means mother in pretty much every language. But in Sanskrit, the language of yoga, it also means like the highest, the most powerful, the most wise of any group. So Mahavahashrota, the digestive channel. Ma Kali, the mother of all goddesses. And so we've got the mothering part. And we've got then the power part, the wisdom part. So Ma puts this together, Ma Yoga. And it says, when we learn to truly mother ourselves, to nurture ourselves, that's when we step into our greatest power and our deepest wisdom. This is what we see with our pregnant mamas all the time, the ones that choose to slow down and start to listen inward, maybe for like the first time in this new way, honoring what they feel. They have this sense that taking care of themselves means taking care of babies, so they're gonna do it more. And then they start to experience themselves as that mama bear, right? I am woman, hear me roar. Okay, number six. For yoga teachers who do feel like maybe they didn't quite they're not that inspired, or maybe their 200-hour didn't quite take them where they wanted to go, or they're just feeling maybe isolated or disconnected, because it can be really lonely to just be like, okay, showing up, you teach your class and people don't really talk. Well, this is like a whole new world because pregnant mamas love to talk. And there's also a feeling that we get as prenatal teachers, even as yoga teachers who have a pregnant woman in the room who we know how to guide her and support her, that we're really needed, right? They're really listening and they're really like grateful, right? And what we're doing really matters. Not that it doesn't matter in regular yoga, but somehow, facing like the most intense physical and emotional challenge of our lives just brings it up a notch, right? And that feels good as a teacher, to feel useful. All right, number 7, I love online teaching. I fell in love with it in 2009 when I did an Ayurveda course. I loved how people were like from all over the world, and here we were connecting together and growing and learning together. And then yet we were still able to, I don't know, be pushing our little one in a stroller, or be on mute and actually have a conversation with somebody if we had to. So we didn't have to fly anywhere and do a retreat or stop our lives, to really expand our possibilities. I love that. And especially for this, when I used to teach like an 18-hour weekend, and people would wake up on a Monday morning and go like, what the heck just hit me? It was so much information and no time to integrate. So people weren't really ready by the end. Whereas for the online teaching, there's time to work it into your practice, into your life, into your relationships, into your thinking. And even about maybe 3/5 of the way through the 85-hour program, people start teaching with us because you're just ready. I love the concept of the feminine and the masculine. So in yoga, we have Shiva Shakti. In Chinese medicine, we have yin and yang. We all have these two complementary opposite parts of ourselves. So there's a lot of baggage around these kind of ideas of gender and sexuality and stereotypes. That's not what this is. So it's just kind of languaging to refer to the masculine being the more stable, steady, linear, logical, the part of us that gets things done, checking off lists, and makes things happen, versus the feminine part of us, the more feeling our way forward, spiraling around, intuitive, sensing, a little more passive but receptive, right? Allowing ourselves to be supported and guided. We need both. We can see pregnancy as an opportunity to reconnect to our feminine, right? To reconnect to that part of us that knows we're better together, to remember that we have this deep wisdom within us that can guide us. I call it the inner GPS. And then in order to hear it, we got to slow down, and we got to get quiet sometimes. And we got to let go of, making things happen, maybe shift our definition of productivity a little bit, because this is where we co-create from, whether we're co-creating a meaningful pregnancy or a new career path or whatever it is. It's a recognition that there are bigger forces at work, and we can learn to ride these forces, use these forces to support our intention. Number 9, I feel, especially having had a very rough 2 years after becoming a mom, that yoga can and must change for women on this journey. And I get a little bit irate when I think of, my meditation teacher basically saying, if you're not going to do this for 20 minutes twice a day, kind of don't bother. It's not worth it. And then becoming a mom, realizing I didn't even have 20 minutes to take a shower. So that went out the window at a time when I needed it most. So Ma Yoga kind of revisions how we can dive deep and reset in if we have 1 minute, or how we can align to relieve our shoulder tension when we have 5 minutes left of our baby's nap, right? How do we get right there? So kind of a rethinking, maybe letting go of the all or nothing ideas that we have in so many areas, but definitely, I know for me, for about yoga, like if I don't have an hour and a half and I'm not going to sweat, then it's not worth it. That had to change. And I guess finally, number 10, I love the kinds of people who are drawn to learn more about birth and postpartum. And I'm not sure what it is. I couldn't really name it. It could be yoga teachers, not yoga teachers, people who want to teach prenatal, people who are pregnant, people who are just fascinated by it, people who are scared of it and want to kind of unpack their emotions. Whatever it is, I think maybe it's something about wanting to go deeper beneath the surface and explore, what does it mean for life to be creating life, and how can I fully participate in this process in my own life? Because in every moment, with every breath, life is creating life within us, as us. So I hope that if you are drawn to learn more about this, you will join me for even a free training and explore your own Ma power and wisdom as you learn to deeply nurture and nourish yourself.